All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, first and foremost, we have to give all the praises, honor, and glory unto the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh,
Yahweh, Ba'ashem,
Ba'ashem,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahushai,
Ba'ashem, Rakakadash.
Ba'ashem Kadash. All right, double honors and respect to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and taught us this truth. I would also like to say peace and salutations to the Lord's elect, the hopeful elect, and the one-third. This is Brother Salah.
Brother Brock.
All right. All right, and today's video lesson, is going to be on, more of Satan's devices, right? So, recently, right, the brother Barack, I've seen these no, it's okay, I've been seeing, these other videos on YouTube, right? Of Esau, man, what he's doing is, certain companies, they're going door to door, right? They're sending people to replace, people's their thermostats with this smart thermostat, right? Right, without people's consent, these average day, Babylonian citizens, right? They're starting to catch wind of that, right? They've been calling the company saying that, hey, they didn't ask for this, but but they'll tell them, oh, they updated this, and in their, in their new policy, man, or whatever, and that goes along with the scriptures, man. So let's bring some of them out before we begin. All right, so this is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 2, verse 11, and it says here, or at least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices, right? So with Satan, man, the adversary, or the accuser, which is Esau, Edom, man, in the flesh, not necessarily the spiritual adversary Satan, because the spiritual demon Satan is working in accordance, or working with the will of the Lord Yahweh on the left hand side, right? But his physical counterpart, Esau, man, he's come to do the bidding of Satan, right? And what he's doing, right, he's setting up a system, right, to ultimately, push out and implement his digital ID, or his digital global control, through the MOTB, which is that charagma, that that digital imprint, right? So before I play some of these videos, right, I'm gonna bring out the copyright disclaimer, right? All right, you see right here, disclaimer, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All right, so with that out of the way, we're gonna play the first video. Yeah, this one. Yeah, let me open up on YouTube.
This past summer, while I was out in my garden, a man pulled up in his car and started to help himself to the side of my barn to switch out my meter for a smart meter. I politely declined. He said, oh, someone should have told you I was coming. I said, no one told me you were coming, and I'm gonna reevaluate this and get back to you guys. I have since opted out of a smart meter for a variety of reasons. And I pay an $11 fee every month for not having a smart meter, and that was that this past June, or so I thought. I got a text this past Wednesday from National Grid, who installs smart meters, that reads as follows. Naturally, when I saw this, I freaked out and called National Grid to reaffirm my commitment to not wanting a smart meter. The woman on the phone was kind of weird about it, had to keep disappearing to talk to someone and come back, and told me she will be resubmitting or refiling my stance to not want a smart meter. And there have also been National Grid people that have been checking out my utility pole the past few weeks. I did let her know it will not be a very happy holiday for anyone who decides to help themselves to the side of my barn for a smart meter for safety purposes. There are people in this vicinity that practice the Second Amendment. I got an email that she had refiled my stance for a smart meter, which tells me possibly every 6 months, maybe every year, their system conveniently forgets, loses, whatever, people who have made it very clear to them they don't want a smart meter. They were about to install one yet again, so I had to call again, reconfirm to them, please do not put a smart meter on the side of my building. So many of you have written to me telling me, actually around the country, that they are doing this to people's homes when they're not home. Even if you tell them you don't want one, they're still doing it. We have signage up that makes it pretty obvious what we want here at this property. Go ahead and look up all the different things related to smart meters. I'm not going to get into that on this video for a variety of reasons. I do not want one at my property. I do not want them to have instant access to my information. I don't want things being beamed out right next to the plants that I've planted for pollinators, specifically bees. All of that is personal preference, but I start to have a problem when a public utility company, or in this case a monopoly, National Grid, is pushing something so hard on you that they are conveniently forgetting about what you told them you wanted in the first place. That is when things are nefarious, and that is what needs to be discussed here. Why are they in such a mad dash to put smart meters on all of our buildings in New York State? This past summer.
All right, and we know what it is, right? Let's get some precepts out. All right, Daniel chapter 8, verse 25. Let's get this in the Blue Letter Bible. All right, so this is the book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 25, and it says here, through his policy, he he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. Right. So what you're seeing now, right? That video is Esau, man. Through I guess the company was called National forgot what it was called, but like whatever the name of that company was, right? Right, they they were through their policy, right? They're basically pushing out these smart meters, right? And that's basically gonna allow Esau act, Esau or whatever company that is, allow these Edomites or these wicked elites, right, access to people's thermostats, right? So like during the winter season, they can like if it's like really cold outside and you need heat, right? Esau could decide to cut off your power and say like, hey, you're consuming way too much power for your daily allowance or whatever, right? Right, or the company has deemed you're consuming too much electricity, so they're just gonna fucking turn off your heat, right? While you freeze to death in the winter time, right? And Esau basically, he wants this, right? In order to instill that chaos, man, because eventually, right, Esau, this damn devil, he wants to to brew that chaos once so that so that base he don't so excuse me, Esau wants this chaos to start, so it'll give him an excuse to to instill or enact martial law, or rather the Insurrection Act. Right. Because there's going to be so much chaos and violence on the street, because people are invading each other's houses for like resource or heat or what have you, man. Because because Esau knows, man. Especially this coming winter, this dark winter, man. Is that it's going to get bad for a lot of people, man. And basically what. And basically what Esau's doing, right, is this damn devil. He already wants to tamper with with people's thermostats, so he can
He can manipulate. He can manipulate everything. He has that Internet of Things that he wants to set up. So he wants everything to be what controllable, right? He wants to put a microchip in you. He wants to have your house controlled, right? They want to know exactly they want to know they want you to own nothing, right? They want to know exactly how much you owe to them, right? This is the book of Proverbs 22 and 3. It says, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. Right. So what we're seeing with this guy, we're seeing what this devil Esau he does something. We know, he has 5 more steps, 10 more things ahead of time, right? We're able to see that. That the regular person is just they just see it as what they just installed a meter on my house, no big deal, right? But these are all of his devices he's using that to control, right?
Yeah. That's right. That takes you to another precept, right? When when the morning cometh light, they practice it. When the morning cometh light, they practice it because it's in the power of their hand. Oh yeah, here it is. Micah 2, chapter 2, verse 1. It says here, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands, right? And these wicked elites know that they're using these companies, right? Yeah, right, to install these smart devices, so they can pretty much gain control over over people's lives, man. And you best believe, man. In this next video I'm about to show, when this dark winter comes around, man. This damn devil, he's gonna make a lot of people suffer, man. And so, and let me continue on the second verse, right? It says here, verse 2, and they covered fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage, right? So we know the history, right? Esau went, during the time of the Renaissance, right? When Esau came back into power, right? From the caves of the Caucasus Mountains, right? Right, it was their time to get back into rulership, right? Speaking in the book of Revelation 13, that dragon, speaking of the Roman Empire, whose deadly wound was healed, but did live, right? It's talking about Esau coming back into rulership. What this man do, with his blessing the sword, the gun, and and all his military expertise, right? He went out around the world, conquering, raping, robbing, pillaging, forcing Christianity, or white / Edomite supremacy on these people, right? Taking their resources, and now what you see now, Esau's doing it to his own damn people, right? Through what? Through these smart devices, man. Putting these smart thermometers on their home, giving these people like smart refrigerators, smart dishwashers, smart washing machines, man. Smart locks to their home, or integrating everything with what via Alexa or whatever, man. Man, this fucking devil. He wants to control over everything, man. Including his own people, man. Because this man doesn't rule in righteous, man. And you know what the scriptures say, man. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. Roughly paraphrasing. Let me get that so I don't butcher it. Yeah, Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn, man. And that's what you're seeing right now. You're seeing all these people mourning, and this next video that we're gonna play, right? Esau going around people's houses, putting up that these smart devices, man. He's gonna mess up a lot of people, right? So you see it right here on the screen. You see the copyright disclaimer displayed. We already mentioned it. We're gonna play this video. And this is from the brother Arrows of Indignation 144. Subscribe to his channel for edification. The title of the video is Dark Winter Ahead, man.
Well, let me tell you what's going to happen on December 19th. There is such a geomagnetic storm going to happen between the sun, solar flares, and the weather machines that are going on, and we are going to have a deep freeze across America. For 7 days, 7 nights, we're going to have snow bigger than flakes the size of your hand. People are just going to freak out, and probably will lose about 50% of the population. Most people are not going to have to survive because they're going to freeze to death. and the other half are pretty much going to turn on each other. So if you wanted a civil war, what an easy way to come about. This is going to happen 7 days, so 7 days from the 19th is Christmas.
I think it's cold now, just wait, it's going to get worse later this week and really the rest of the month because of several waves of Arctic air moving down into the north central and northeastern regions of the country. It's all because of a displacement of the polar vortex, but what that means for you is very cold air, even record challenging cold in some areas. Let's talk about how it plays out this week. So it's a dip in the jet stream and a cold front moving through, which does mean snow for some of you, but the bigger story here is the cold. I do want to point out we could see some snow squalls while the snow amounts are not that high, but let's talk more about the cold. It's Wednesday into Thursday, so when you wake up Thursday morning, some of you are going to have temperatures below zero. Yeah, we're already at that point. The record challenging lows start in Iowa Thursday morning, but don't worry, more of you get in on the record challenging lows by the time we get to Friday in the Ohio Valley and into the Northeast. Let me give you some examples. Fargo, North Dakota, Wednesday and Thursday, you're going to start out with temperatures below zero, but by the time we get to the weekend, even your high will be in the single digits. We have single digit lows in Minneapolis and Chicago. In Chicago, you're actually coming close to a record too for Friday morning. And while all of this starts out in the northern plains, it does move through the Ohio Valley and then eventually into the Northeast. So everyone gets in on the cold. But like I said, this is only the first round of Arctic air pushing down. Our long-range team says we'll get more rounds over the next week and the week after that. So really much of December, we're just going to keep getting colder with the coldest air of the season so far.
The Simpsons predicted that the United States faces the harshest winter ever recorded. In December 2025, the temperature drops lower than anyone has ever seen before. Snow starts falling endlessly, covering everything in sight. Soon the snow piles rise higher than doors and windows, trapping people inside their homes. The icy air hurts to breathe. Families try to dig their way out, but the storm only gets worse. Cars stop working as their engines freeze completely. Roads vanish under deep snow, and even snow plows can't move anymore. Emergency workers are stuck too. Ambulances can't reach people who need help. Families start worrying as food and water supplies run low. Heaters run non-stop, but houses still feel freezing cold. Water pipes burst, and some people even burn old furniture to stay warm. Power lines fall under the heavy snow, cutting off electricity across entire cities. Could America survive a winter like that?
I was asked a question. How do you stay warm in 20 below zero weather without electricity? I've answered this how many times, but I'm going to answer it again. You bundle up, you wear more than one pair of wool socks. You wear a hat so that the heat stays within the body. You set up a tent inside your house in the warmest room in the house. If you have two-story like we do, you set it up upstairs. You get space blankets, you wrap yourself in those. They're very inexpensive. You take a can of Crisco, put hopefully a beeswax candle in the center of it, light the candle, and let it heat up. Put that on a slab of some sort, unburnable surface, maybe a plate, so that it doesn't burn down below. You're going to be mighty toasty. Winter is upon us. You do not want to burn wood. You do not want to run your fireplace. There is a high probability that the grid is going to go down this winter. I watched briefly the reasons why that's a high probability. And one reason is that it was not designed for the load that we have on it currently. And the load is increasing. All the data centers, it is using so much power. So, listen up. Listen up. Get yourself a tent, space blankets, Crisco, beeswax candles, maybe some bricks, flat bricks, square bricks, matches, and get set up so that you can stay warm this winter.
Yeah,
and no matter what you do, man, that all that shit ain't gonna save you. Doing, you can have all the preparation, all the gasoline, all the matches, all the, the clothes, the tents, whatever, right? When shit hits the fan, it's really gonna get bad, right? And I saw a video, and I don't know how real it was, but they were saying they did a similar purge event, right, back then, and people were like a test, and they were saying people were killing each other. Like, it was swept under the rug though, but they didn't want people to know about it, right? Um, and so, and if people were killing each other during that time, right? When shit hits the fan and people start, there's no food, police can't go out there because there's, it gets that cold, right? There's that much bad weather and the grid's down, right? No one's gonna be able to, pick up 911 calls, right? No one's gonna fucking be able to do shit. You're gonna be on your own. And let's see. So,
all right.
one sec. You got something? Because I was gonna bring something out.
Yeah, go ahead. You bring it out.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring out Revelation 12:12, but if you have something else, go ahead, Ak.
Yeah. So this is a book of me. I just found it right here. Yeah, it says, okay. This is the book of Matthew 24 and 22. It says, if those days had not been cut short, no one would survive. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be shortened, right? And that's how bad it's going to get out here, right? Nobody would be able to survive. What's going to go down, right? Now, when you see people like that coming out here and saying, making these bold claims like, 7 days this gonna happen, it's gonna happen. People don't really know, but nobody really knows. This exact day she's gonna go down, but well, it will happen. These it's undeniable. It will happen. You know, like a lot of people are Esau. He'll even set people up to say these certain things like X, Y, and Z will happen on this day, and then they do that to the what's it to really cause like false alerts, right? But these things still are gonna go down.
Right, right, man. And if you look right here in Revelation 12:12, man, the brothers always bring it out, but it says here, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe, meaning destruction to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, who we know is Esau, man, is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth he hath but a short time, man. He has but a short time in rulership, man. That's why Esau's trying to get it. Is trying to get his digital ID system, implemented in place, man. Going into 2026, man, is gonna be rough. It's not gonna be easy, man. That's why, that's why the scripture says, man. Pray that your flight. Yeah, Matthew 24 verse 20, right? All right, same chapter. You scroll up a few verses, right? It says here, but pray that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Shabbat, for then shall great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor shall ever be, man. So it's gonna get really bad out here, man. Going to 2026, man. Like Yao Bashim Yao Shire with the Zal, Lord willing. That's good. That's gonna be the year of our salvation, man. The year of when the MOTB, that Karagma is gonna get pushed out, right? And Esau, man. He's already starting. to set these systems in place, man. Like what you just saw with with the woman and that company with the smart meter, man. They got these smart TVs, smart cars, smart stove, smart fridge, a smart dishwasher. But you got dumbass people, man. Their own kids can't even know how to. They don't even know how to read, write, spell. You use the fucking bathroom. All they know is how to play on their fucking iPads, man. This generation, is completely finished, right? And now Esau is planning, to deploy these AI robots, man, as we're gonna see in this next video, right? So again, we've already declared the copyright disclaimer. You've seen that right here on the screen. We're gonna play this video, right here.
All right, let me give you the latest on Christian news and what is happening in the world today. China just signed a $37 million deal to deploy industrial-grade humanoid robots at real border crossings. And these aren't just demo robots. These are the Walker S2 humanoids. They are built for 24/7 operation with automatic battery swapping. That's right. They can take their own battery pack out, swap it out with zero downtime. Their job is for crowd control, inspections, logistics, guiding travelers, surveillance, and government-level enforcement. This is only one of many rollouts because China is expanding on what they call embodied AI across factories, public places, and even security. These robots don't tire, they don't question orders, and they do not have a conscience. Experts are even warning that this is the foundation of an AI-run enforcement system to replace human oversight. I want to give you relevant Christian news, not to scare you or put fear in you, but to warn you and to give an awareness of what is happening in the world today. If you feel the same way, please share this so the world can be informed of what is truly happening.
And you see, that's right there. Esau using China as the testing grounds for the NWO digital system. So I was getting a little bit excited, right? And again, man, you best believe those AI robots. They gonna come here during Babylon the Great, man. So like when we're gonna see what happens when this dark winter comes, man. Like you might see, by the end of this December, this might be the year when shit actually starts to pop off, man. When people will start actually killing, looting, and invading one another, right? So what they're gonna do, man, is they're gonna deploy the National Guard, and if the National Guard doesn't want to attack or kill their own people, they're gonna send these AI bots, man. And so there's basically no escape from judgment, man. Esau's here to take peace away from the earth. And let's get that. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 6, verse 4, and it says here, "And there went out another horse that was red," and we know that red symbolizes Esau, man. "And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given to him a great sword," right? That goes back to Esau. I was blessing the sword, man. He's meant to kill, steal, and destroy, man. Just like it says here in Micah chapter 2, verse 2, right? They covered fields and take them by violence, man. And that's what Esau's getting ready to do. But now he's getting ready to to implement his RFID micro CM, right? Right, as stated in Revelation in 13:16 on down, right? Right, and I'm just gonna read it right now. Revelation chapter 13, verse 16, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark, a charagma, which is a physical incision, right, in their right hand on their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that has the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. And if you look up what that is, 666, that is 666 Chi Psi stigma in the Greek,
Strong's G 5516. Chi, Xi, stigma. Chi, Xi, stigma.
Right here, Strong's definitions, denoting respectively 600, 60, and 666 as numerical, right? And that's the numbers that you see on the barcodes, right? Whenever you buy or something, right? Which goes back to that being tied to having the ability to to purchase something off the shelves, man. And the elder Yashawamba here, he's on Revenant 144 save, he's gonna explain it a little bit better than I can. That the mark of the beast, right? That is purely physical. It is not spiritual, man. Because there's nothing spiritual about this devil other than the fact that he's fucking wicked as hell. Right. So subscribe Revenant 144. Remnant Save 144, the Elder Yashawamba, and the video is called Prophecy Watch #MOTB, right? And we're just gonna play this portion of the video. Again, we already showed the copyright disclaimer. Here it is. So we're gonna play the video.
Okay, well, these white Christian nationalists try to deceive you with it, as if they're really down with the Bible, but then what are they really pushing? They're pushing technology. Okay? They're pushing merging man with machine, all of them. So this ain't something we need to look out for? The word charagma, which the root word is karax, all right, which through the ideal of scratching, sharpened to a point. Okay? We just showed you this devil Amal, all right, Grafstra, right? Amal Grafstra. Okay, what is he pushing? Look at his nigga. I got two. Probably got a few in his nipples. He's chipped up. He's ready. Okay, this is the anti-Messiah, man. So the notion that the MOTB ain't got nothing to do with anything physical, well, when you look up the word mark, okay, a stamp imprinted mark on the mark stamped upon the forehead or the right hand is a badge of the followers of the anti-Messiah. Okay, which we always go into ancient systems would tattoo you or mark you via a brand. Okay, for the purpose of tracking or their military. Even in Egypt they did it. See, mark branded upon horses. What are horses and cattle branded for? Identification. Okay, thing carved, wooden graven work, idolatrous image. So it's a physical thing, man. Okay, it says a badge of servitude. So they're promoting it as the new wave of how to how to be safe and win in the new world coming. But really it's a badge of servitude, man. What is a badge of servitude? Okay? To have your ass enslaved. Okay? A badge of servitude refers to both literal slave badges in history, metal tags, identifying enslaved people in workplaces. So how is that going to be done in the new world that they got planned? Okay? In the Civil War in the 1800s in Charleston, South Carolina, metal tags were worn by enslaved people. Badges and incidents of slavery, man. I mean, so what? I mean, badges of servitude. So the Bible ain't lying, man. Sculpture, a mark, a graven mark. This is a physical thing, man. And we're here. I just wanted to bring that information out. Hopefully I'll edify it. All right. Again, all right. The beauty of this all is that pursuant to Revelation, the 15th chapter, all right, when we talk about, salvation, our salvation being near, Okay, Revelation 15 and 2, John foretells the victory. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten victory over the beast and over his image and over his mark and over the number of his name. Okay, the 666 Chi-Psi stigma, which we have lessons going into that, because that foretells their plan of merging man with machine, making you a barcode, a trackable, traceable, all right, entity on their grid, man. So the victory's already written. We're just here. We're born into the earth as vessels chosen to fulfill that. All right, which means there's a very, 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 very great sacrifice that comes. I will be in a servant of Yahweh Bashim Shai. We just have to trust and believe. All right, Shalom.
And that's it, man. You know, just like the elder Yashwamba said, how the fuck, man? How the fuck is the mark spiritual, man? It's completely physical. Like again, it is not Christianity. It is not Sunday worship. It's not the white woman. It's not. It's not what else do they fucking say, man? Like it's like
they not keeping the law, right?
Or sin. Don't say sin itself. It's not sin itself. No. The Quran is literally a physical imprint.
They also believe it's a spiritual, like a fully spiritual mark. You know, they don't believe it's. You know, we had people we know that were saying that, and then they were saying no, it's spiritual, then physical. You know, they were switching up on what you know. You know, this is why the Lord needs to really fucking destroy these people, man. You know, you're out here playing with people. You know, you're out here just playing with people, giving with smooth answers, right? You're giving false prophecies, right?
And let's see and let's see what happens to those false prophets, man. Let's see. Let's see what the scripture says. False prophet destroyed. And all right, here it is. Revelation chapter 19, starting at verse 19, right? And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army, right? And the beast was taken and him with a false prophet and that wrought miracles before him, which he deceived and them that had deceived them that have received, right? Salaki, I made a mistake. Let me read that part again. Which with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone. Right. So that's it right there and then and there. If you take this physical insertion, if you take that charagma, if you take this physical mark, right. Let's see a stamp an imprint. Let's see. Vine's Dictionary View entry. See from queso. You see they have it hidden right here. Queso to engrave akin carded to impress. So it's physically inserted into your skin, right? A stamp. If you take that, this is the consequence for taking that, right? The Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahshua, he's gonna fucking destroy you, man. And let's see what it says right here. And the remnant that were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which the sword proceeded out of his mouth, and the fowls were filled with their flesh, man. So the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, man, he's getting ready to destroy those, man. that take this charagma and that falsely prophesy or lie about it, right? Or that's what the Lord Yahweh Shemi Al Shai is getting ready to do. Those of you who say, that say that the mark is anything but that that microchip, man, that micro, whether it be in the right hand or the forehead, if it's anything other than that, and you say it's anything other, and if you say that the mark of the beast is anything other than that, then the Lord Yahweh Shemi Al Shai is going to destroy you, man. And let me bring out another precept and to substantiate the point in the presence. Right here, Revelation chapter 14, verse 10, right? Let's start at verse 9. It says here, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive the mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, of Yahweh, which is poured without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, in the presence of the Lamb, and the smoke of their torment shall ascend up forever and ever, meaning a long time, right? And they shall have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark and his name, right? So the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man, that he's getting ready to destroy those people, man. That are against him, right? Those that take that take that RFID microchip. Yep, and those that falsely prophesy about it too, man, saying that it's anything but the microchip, man. That's what the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is getting ready to do, man. And just as the elder Yahshua said, man, those the brothers that are in this truth, that are in the know-how, through the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, under the blood of Yahweh Shai, man. May the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, protect us during these times, that He give us a way out, not to receive that mark, man, because and this scripture, is pertains to it, man. And lead us not into. This is the Lord's prayer, man. Yahweh Shai's prayer. Mark chapter 6 verse 13. Let me get this in the blue letter. Slocky, it was chapter 6. Oh, it was Matthew chapter 6, Slocky. I'm getting mixed up. Right here, all right. And this is Yahweh Shai speaking in the red letter, right? So we're gonna start at verse 9. It says here, this is Yahweh Shai speaking after Mark chapter 6 verse 9. After this manner, therefore pray ye, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, right? And this speaking of of His elect, right? Which we hope to be part of, but deliver us from evil, man. So deliver us, from that hour of temptation. Deliver us from that charagma, right? For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. And that's what we hope and pray to see on that first go around, man. Man, is the kingdom of heaven, and to ultimately, have victory over the beast, man. Not take the charagma, survive and endure, or all these hardships, man, under the blood of Yahweh Shai, man. Through His blessings and miracles, man. Through the Ruach Hakodesh. So unless you have anything to add, Brother Barak, that's it from my end.
That's it for me.
All right. So with that, we're gonna end off the lesson right there. Hope this lesson has been edifying to you, Akim, and you feel Akwath. And with that, we'd like to say, Call Halayim La, Abanawa, Yahweh,
Awa, Ba'ashem,
Ba'ashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ruka Kadash.
Makadas.
All right, double honors and respect to our apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule well and taught us this truth. I would also like to say peace and salutations to the Lord's elect, the hopeful elect and 1/3, his brother Salah.
Brother Brock.
And with that, we have to say shalom.
Go on.